Half a day and good afternoon, everyone. I am Adriana Cotero, and I am joined with the family of deceased Xavier Tedtaotao and his deceased wife, Vicky Regis. The couple suffered from numerous gunshot wounds on November 3rd, 2020. It was election night, and this was the officer-involved shooting that occurred in Tamuning. Truly a very tragic story, as just this past weekend, the Office of Attorney General announced that they concluded their joint investigation with GPD, and that after several hours of evidence being presented to a grand jury, they decided the officers' actions were justified and returned a no true bill, meaning no indictments would come down on the 4 officers involved, and they were cleared from any criminal charges. Now, the Guam Police Department Chief Stephen Ignacio also held a press conference, and he went through the sequence of events that occurred the night of the evening. And many in the community believe that justice has not truly been served. Now we turn to the Tedtaotao family. We have Xavier's mother, Carol, sister Paula, and sister Geraldine joining us. First, I'd like to express my sincerest condolences to you all and just thank you for coming on here to share your story and share your words with us. And I would first like to ask your thoughts on what these findings that were released over the weekend. What were your initial thoughts and reactions to hearing this?
We're still very hurt. And that news came and hit hard, just as it hit hard when we found out that my brother was shot and killed by police officers the night that it happened.
I think one of the most shocking findings was to hear that a total of 45 gunshots were fired at your loved ones, and a single officer shot 31 of those bullets. The Office of the Attorney General even characterized it as an excessive amount of shots fired. Do you agree that this is an excessive amount, and do you believe this many shots can truly be justified?
Yes, I do believe that was an excessive amount of force and shots fired.
You don't know how can that be justified?
During the press conference, it was
Only
also
God can
learned
make
that
that judgment call.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Can you repeat that?
It's wrong.
It's wrong. That amount of force of fire, I truly believe was unnecessary. My brother was unarmed. His wife was unarmed. Mm-hmm. They're going to use the car as a weapon. You know, did they give my brother a chance to step out of the vehicle? We were told otherwise. We've been kept in the dark for long. We've reached out many times through this whole thing, asking questions, only to give us the answer saying that to get back to us. They couldn't answer any of our questions because of the investigation. We were denied. My mom was denied to identify my brother's body. We want to know who identified his body when this happened. My mom wasn't given that. When we asked, we were denied. They told us it was due to the severity of the crime. Was my brother hit with all those bullets? We want to know. We still have no peace. There's no peace with us because of what happened to him. It took over a month for us to finally be able to see my brother.
You mentioned that they didn't even allow you to identify your brother. Were you able to see even the vehicle or even the cop car at all to see if there really were all these damages that they said?
No, we weren't. We were not.
During the press conference, it was learned that Vicky had also passed away since that night. Chief was unable to confirm if she died due to injuries sustained from the shooting, but would you be able to tell us exactly how many gunshot wounds she suffered from and how long she was hospitalized, and if her death is in fact related to this incident?
We believe it is related. She never stopped bleeding out. Her children and her parents can tell you more of that, but she did share with me that she had begged them to stop shooting. She put the car in park and shut it off. The way they reported it, the car going back and forth, my son going back and forth, that was not true. I don't know where they got their information from. That's not true. She watched my son die right in front of her.
And she was also shot at, correct? Do you know how many shots were fired at her?
10 times. She was hit 10 times, 8 to 10 times.
Again, I'm so sorry. We'll try and reach out to her family as well. If you guys are able to provide the contact too, I can try and reach out to her. For those that did not know Xavier and Vicky, what can you tell us about them? How long were they married for? Do they share any children? How do you remember them?
They have a son together. Xavier has 3 other children. He has a daughter that I'm taking care of and raising. He will never get to see her walk down the aisle. He would never see her get to graduate.
He was not able to watch his boy grow up.
Getting exonerated.
His little boy has to grow up without a mom and a dad.
How
It's
is their son
wrong.
coping? How is their son and the rest of their children coping with the loss of their parents?
I'm sure it's pretty hard. My brother has stepchildren from Vicky Ann, and you know, I'm sure it's very hard for them as well as it is for us.
How do you cope with something like this? How do you cope with something? It's hard. It's very hard. When none of the authorities get a hold of you to contact me, they do interviews with everyone. What about me as his mother? What about his siblings? Why can't anybody come to us? Why, if they can go on live and talk to the public, the whole island of Guam, why can't they come to me and apologize to me and my family? Who does that?
I can't.
We still deserve answers,
Mhm.
and we still want answers. We weren't contacted by authorities the night my brother was killed. I was on the phone making calls to GPD to try to find out where my brother was. He wasn't transported to GMH right away. He was kept there at the scene until wee hours in the morning the next day.
Yes. Yes. He wasn't transported to the hospital.
He wasn't immediately transported to the hospital.
No, he wasn't. No.
Their statements, the chief's statements, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who did their investigation, how they did their investigation. Sloppy and not right.
Chief Ignacio said that, and you had mentioned this, that the police officers were faced with the suspect with 3,000 plus weapon, referring to the stolen vehicle. And he said, quote, they discharged deadly force in response to the deadly force used against them and seized the deadly force when the threat against them had stopped. And it was also asked by a reporter in the press conference, why didn't the officer shoot at the tires then? And the chief said they are not trained to discharge a firearm at tires. You also mentioned the deadly force and how that truly isn't justified, what occurred. And he didn't go on to explain, the chief didn't go on to explain as to why they can't shoot at tires. But do you believe GPD's training and conduct needs to be looked into then?
Yes,
Very much. It sure does. It sure does.
Why do you believe so?
There's other ways that they could have disarmed that vehicle. If they say that my brother was continuously reversing and going forward, there's other ways they could have disarmed that vehicle. They could have shot at the tires. And that is one training I know that officers are trained to do, shoot at tires to disarm a vehicle. They shot to kill. They killed my brother.
They use spikes.
They use spikes to throw at tires. They shoot at tires.
And you mentioned Vicky shut off the car, correct? You said that, and she stepped out.
Put it in park. She put it in park and she turned off the car and had her hands up in the air while she was in the car screaming, "Stop shooting, stop shooting." They weren't armed.
If Xavier and Vicky were alive today, what would you say to them? Do you think they deserve to die this way?
No, they didn't, and nobody deserves to die the way Vicky Ann nor my brother died. Nobody.
What would you say to them if they were here today?
You can't say
I
nothing.
can't say anything to them
Because
because
they're
they're not here today. We just pray that God continues to guide us through this all and that we get justice for them, for my brother. We're still left here without answers for questions we have been asking and asking and asking, and to this very day, nobody's come to us. Their kids have to grow up without them. We'll never get to see my brother again. My mom will never get to see her son again. Regardless of his past, he still didn't deserve to die the way he did. And this is not the end. We're still going to get justice for my brother and for Vicky Ann.
Any message you have to all involved in the case, that being GPD, the Office of the Attorney General, and even the grand jury?
For the investigation to have taken this long, I do believe they could have done better. They could have kept us informed. They're supposed to help us. The day this happened, nobody called us. Nobody called my mom about the shooting and my brother being involved. We want to know who identified my brother. Why was he kept from us identifying his body? I just hope that the grand jury handed this down to the officers being exonerated, that they're happy with the outcome. They're satisfied with it. And to those officers that are back out on duty walking around, it's lives that matter. They took my brother and Vicky Ann's lives from us, from their children. I hope they're happy and they go to sleep peacefully at night with the outcome, because we're still very hurt and very sad, distraught, and unsatisfied with the outcome. There will be justice.
Mm-hmm.
It may be the end for them, but this is just the beginning for us, for justice for both of them.
What do you guys plan to do moving forward to get the justice you deserve?
That's enough of the meeting. We've said what we had to say, and you'll be hearing from us. We are going to get justice. We are still going to seek justice.
Okay.
There will be justice.
I understand. I appreciate your time. Is there anything else any of you would like to add?
Anybody and everybody that's out there that knew my brother and Vicky Ann, please direct message me, my mom, or my sister Paula, as we ask you to stand beside us through this all, strong and together, so that we seek justice for my brother Xavier and Vicky Ann, and so that no one else has to be scared of the officers while they're driving, walking, whatever it may they be doing during each and every day of their lives. Stand beside us, stand strong beside us. We ask you, please, so that we get justice, and justice will be served for the both of them. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining me this afternoon and sharing your words. And again, on behalf of KUAM, our most heartfelt condolences to all of you. I'm so sorry to hear about all of this.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
You.